away.
Well, thanks a lot, Sheila. Honorable Mathias Mpuuga and Samba. Let us just go straight into it. Here we are, all eyes now set on the maximum body politic. What does the task ahead of that parliament look like?
Well, it's very important to understand what is at stake, first of all, because the nation has been gripped in a conversation about the possibilities. Possibilities as to whether the country is able to undertake the most necessary reforms, bare minimum, where necessary, to be able to conduct or go through an electoral process that is of consequence. Certainly, even a negative outcome is a consequence. But this time round, we're talking about an election devoid of the kind of troubles that we have seen over time, over the last 6-7 electoral cycles, that have been really laden with violence, with deliberate fraud. So I think the recent outcomes out of the Supreme Court give a glimmer of possibilities, even in the most difficult of circumstances. For me, that's most telling, namely that if you're Parliament, and we're talking about a doctrine of separation of powers, the Supreme Court has led the way to show that you can actually stand as Parliament and do your duty and undertake your obligation on behalf of citizens. This has been my clarion call to all and sundry. It's been my call to members of Parliament. It's been my call to political parties. It's been my call to citizen platforms and all that care. I mean, that we must stand and demand for what is right, regardless of what politics is about. Because the excuse has been that, you see, politics will not allow certain things to happen. But this is what we are, and I am happy that the Supreme Court has in a way also delivered its own emancipation out of the conversation of state capture, that even courts are captured, Parliament is under capture, the royal institutions of the state cannot stand on their own and deliver the needs of citizens.
Is it Uhuru? Because one would wonder if just the trial of civilians in military court is the bare minimum that we were asking for. Now it has been delivered. Does this then present a unique opportunity for Parliament to now come up with the other reforms to overhaul the Ugandan legal governance structure?
Invariably, yes. Of course, not yet Uhuru. I've said that it gives a glimmer of hope that if real duty bearers are serious about their obligations, they can actually stand and deliver that duty. Like the court stood. The sun did rise the following day. If we stood as Parliament, if we stood as political parties and demanded that certain things be done, I'm very sure we can deliver the bare minimum. The bulk of what needs to be done are legal reforms. Some of them actually are pronouncements from the Supreme Court out of the various petitions out of our elections. You remember the Mbabazi, Kizabesige twice. On all these occasions, the Supreme Court has pronounced itself on what needs to be done. And when you browse through the contents of what I provided to Parliament, including earlier presentations out of the Citizens Compact, what the Honorable Nwagaba tabled in the 10th Parliament, Honorable Segona in the 9th Parliament, all these speak to some of these reforms, plus there's so many I have added out of the consultations I've made from different people and groups. So I believe it's now the duty of Parliament to stand firm and say, yes, let's have this conversation about the possibilities. Because eventually, if we do not do our duty as members of Parliament, somebody will do it the wrong way.
Certainly, and now you realize it goes down to the game of numbers, all right? The NRM certainly has the biggest numbers. How then is the opposition placed, and what strategy can be put on table to ensure that the opposition can woo the bigger numbers from the other side of the House?
I have been in that place to also know that more than numbers is also common sense. And I'm aware there are a number of NRM MPs who are very serious and would like to see certain things change. So I am not worried about numbers. All we need to have is a conversation. The numbers can only come to bear when the real issues have been tabled. I cannot be scared by numbers when the issues have not been discussed. Let the minority have the courage to bring the issues to be discussed by the majority. I have no doubt in my mind that from that majority, we have so many serious members of parliament from the ruling party. I have spoken to some of the individuals. Of course, some of them are cowed. Even those who don't actually know what is going on.
Certainly,
but they are
you
happy.
saw the spirit of the letter that the president authored. Would you then expect one to say, you know what, I'll go with the opposition?
I am happy to tell you that this country is not about the president. This country is also about other citizens who are not politicians. And if Parliament begins the conversation, then the traction out of what others will contribute should be able to come to bear.